Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jim Nance. It wasn't until last November when the Vikings picked up their second win of the 1990 season. Right now, they're 2-1, feeling pretty good about their start, but they're facing the undefeated New Orleans Saints, one of only 5 unbeaten in the National Football League. My partner, of course, is Hank Stram. And Hank, why are the Saints off to their best start in the history of this franchise?
Jim, they're playing defensively as good as they played in the past, but in conjunction with that, their defensive secondary is improved, and it's the best defensive secondary they've had since Moore has been there. Along with that, Bobby Hebert is back. After being out a year because of a salary dispute, he's a starting quarterback. He's off to a great start. The team has rallied around Bobby, and for that reason, they're 3-0.
All right, Hank, what will we see out of the visiting Vikings today, do you think?
Minnesota, I think, is going to come out with a dink and dunk passing offense, and I'm not talking about donuts either.
Okay.
But I think they have to do that to move the change with the passing game early downs, try to get Herschel Walker into the stream of the game just like they have early in the season. And if they can do that and control the defensive line of the New Orleans Saints, I think they got a great chance to win this game this afternoon.
Well, Hank, New Orleans is reaching new heights this season, but here's one more barrier they would like to conquer. In the last 4 meetings against the Vikings, the Saints have been thrashed, including a playoff spot back in January of '88, the Saints' first ever playoff game. A disappointment here in the Superdome for the home fans as the Vikings annihilated them. Minnesota wins the toss and will receive with Darren Nelson at the goal line. Morton Anderson drives it through the end zone, a touchback, and the Vikings will start from their 20. With quarterback Wade Wilson, who has feasted on the Saints. He is 4-0 as a starter, having thrown 11 touchdowns and only 1 interception against New Orleans. The Vikings are healthy up front with Zimmerman, McDaniel, Loudermilk, Kalis, Irwin, and the fine tight end Steve Jordan. Single back Herschel Walker and the 3 dangerous receivers. Over to Chris Carter, and a gain of about 5, and that's what Hank was talking about, the dinks and the dunks, a 5-yard pickup on first down for Minnesota. Facing the New Orleans defense anchored by Martin, Wilkes, and Warren, and the Dome Patrol, they call the linebacking core of Jackson, Mills, Johnson, and Swilling. They've all been Pro Bowlers. And the secondary, Buck and Cook are on the corners, Atkins and Maxey the safety. 2nd down and 5 for the Vikings. Here's Walker. Sam Mills put a stick on him right at the line of scrimmage. Vaughn Johnson helped out. Herschel Walker second only to Ernest Biner in the NFC in rushing. Biner has 293 yards through 3 weeks, but Herschel has been getting at least 20 carries a game.
Minnesota Vikings are going to have a hard time running the ball against this Saints defense, as I mentioned earlier. They're tough. They're number 1 against the rush in the National Football League.
3rd and 5. Through the hands of Walker. Minnesota will punt. 3 downs and out.
He was hurried that time. See, the rush was coming. He tried to throw it out in front of Herschel Walker. That kind of a ball, you got to throw it about a yard out in front of the receiver so he can run right into the ball and catch it. It was a little bit beyond his reach, falls incomplete, and now they're in the soup and they're kicking the ball.
Harry Newsome leads the National Football League with a 50-yard average. Vince Buck is back to return for the Saints. This is a low one, spiraling punt that will be run back. Buck slipped after he made the catch, so the Saints will start inside their own 30, a 49-yard punt. Newsome almost right on average. And here comes Bobby Hebert, who is playing with a bruised shoulder, injured in the season opener against Seattle. It's limited his practice throwing during the week.
And he also said that it hurts. He's got pain every time he throws the ball, and I really think, I don't know, I shouldn't say this probably, but I think maybe it might be even more serious than people think.
And the Saints offensive line, you must watch out for the right guard position. Chris Fort gets his first NFL start They are now 3 deep at that position as Steve Crapillo and Derek Kennard are both out with injuries. The Minnesota defensive line, Noga, Clark, Henry Thomas, and Chris Dolman looking for his first sack of the season.
And Jim, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see the New Orleans Saints start with a pass too. Don't know, but they might.
The secondary that Hebert rates as one of the best. Lee and Rutland on the corners, Wright and Browner the safeties. Finnerty and Hayward behind Hebert on first down. Gil Finnerty just back to the line of scrimmage is all. Jimmy Williams was in on him in a hurry, along with Henry Thomas.
That time they pulled a left guard, Dombrowski, and also Habernick. It was a counter tray play that the Washington Redskins like to run so much. Had a slow leak up front. No gain in the play. Maybe a yard, maybe, but not very much.
We'll call it no gain, Hank. It's second down, 10 to go for the Saints. They brought in some extra receivers, including Floyd Turner. Flags are down. Pass almost intercepted by Joey Browner. Intended for Hobie Brenner.
And that time they had 6 defensive backs, Jim. They were playing bump and run, man-for-man coverage. And this is something they do very well. Carl Lee and Rutland over on the other side, the right corner and left corner, 48 and 39, really do a great job of man-for-man coverage.
Still second down.
The Vikings were offside. So the Saints will have it 2nd and 5 from their 34. There you see Reggie Rutland. Hebert had a lot of respect for that secondary in Minnesota, Hank.
Yeah, he kept talking about how good the corners were, and they also got Felix Wright, and he's from Cleveland. He's doing a good job back there, but he has a lot of respect for the corners on deep patterns.
2nd and 5 for the Saints. Hayward, first carry. Look at him knock over a couple and move near the first down. Chris Dolman got the first hit on him.
Hayward weighs 280, Jim, and I tell you, the great backs should be determined by how much they gain after they've been hit the first time. You watch him this afternoon, and you'll find out that the first guy never gets him down. The second guy very rarely does. You've got to gang tackle him to stop him.
The man Hank said in the NFL today is like tackling a runaway toboggan. You can hit him, but you can't get your arms around him, Hank.
Yeah, that's right.
3rd and less than a yard for the Saints. Finnerty's back into the backfield. 2 tight ends for New Orleans. Who else but Hayward? First down and running.
See, there's a great illustration of it. He hit the pile, was stopped, looked like he was stopped, but he pushed it through there and got the necessary yardage for the first down. He's murdered.
A week ago, Hayward carried it 17 times for 72 yards against the Rams, and he scored a couple of touchdowns. His carry load has increased in each of the 3 games, and the Saints have scored every time they've had the football on their first possession this year. First down, play action. Eric Martin can't hold on.
You don't see that happen very much. Anytime that Martin has a chance to catch a ball, he catches it.
He's New Orleans' all-time receiver for receptions and yardage.
Swilling that time.
Work on the sidelines for one of the Saints. Denny Thompson. 2nd down 10 for Hebert. He has his slot formation to the far side. Finnerty is the single back. Pitch to Finnerty. And right into 3 defenders, including Ray Berry. Dalton Hilliard is inactive today. He's had lingering knee problems, and you see Ray Berry now, the middle linebacker for the Vikings, stepping in to a position manned by Scott Studwell throughout the 80s.
And he was such a great linebacker. Talking about Studwell, anytime you lose a guy like him, you're going to suffer a little bit. And the combination of Studwell and Millard has really made a big difference in the style of this Minnesota defense.
3rd and 8, 4 receivers for the Saints. Shotgun time for Hebert. Great protection, incomplete, and no flag. Intended for Quinn Early, and Reggie Rutland reached in and knocked it down.
That's what we talked about earlier, the corners of the Minnesota Vikings. Rutland, in this particular case, very good with man-for-man coverage. They were in man-for-man coverage.
Well, they've shown the replay on the giant screen, and the fans are really angry about this one, Hank.
Here, Rutland, number 48. There you see. He's got his hand on him. He's got his hands all over him. He's trying to fisk him.
Yep, no call, no interference call, so Tommy Barnhart is in to punt. Leo Lewis from the 12. And the Vikings all-time punt returner takes it across the 25 to the 27. So the Saints fail to score on their first possession for the first time this year. The team has had one possession. Hank, there are 5 teams unbeaten starting today, and the Saints, of course, a huge surprise. What else surprises you when you look at that list?
You know, very honestly, I'm surprised that Chicago's 3-0. Going into the season, I didn't think they'd win 3 games after playing 3 games. Ditkin and coaching staff really have done a remarkable job with that team.
They'll face the Jets tomorrow. First down for the Vikings. Good play action fake, and Wilson lobs it to Jordan at the 30, and he rumbles out to the 37, maybe the 38. It looks like it's enough for a Vikings first down.
Right time they're playing a zone, a soft defense. They cross the tight end, Jordan, across the middle. The quarterback, Wade Wilson, rolls out. Here it is. He makes a good fake and rolls. Look at the flow of the defense. Everybody's following the back.
Give them 12 yards where they spot it. First down for Minnesota. Five-step drop, and there's the completion to AC Anthony Carter. And he moves the pile, I believe, for another Vikings first down.
And they have to throw the ball that way, Jim, because the Saints use a zone defense, which is a very soft. You got to hit between the linebackers, between the safeties and the linebackers, and that's exactly what they're doing with the dink and dunk.
Anthony Carter now extends his Vikings record, 84 straight games with a reception. First down for Minnesota. They come around. Hassan Jones looking to throw. He cuts it under. Excellent coverage downfield by the Saints' Gene Atkins. They were looking for Anthony Carter.
What happened on that, Jim, it was a zone defense, and as a result, why they were back there and were not fooled at all by the possibility of the option play that Hassan Jones was trying. Look at Carter. Look at Carter running down the sideline, but you see Atkins was right there, back there with him. That's why he didn't throw the ball.
So we're denied a chance to check out Hassan Jones' arm. No gain on the play. 2nd and 10 for Minnesota. Walker. Again, little room for Herschel. He has been stuffed the first 2 times he's carried it. Maybe a gain of 2 on this play. Sam Mills and Vaughn Johnson again on the inside making the tackle.
Watch Swilling, 56. Look at the block on him. It's a trap from the inside out. And Daniel is pulling on the play. He doesn't get a good inside position on him, but he makes good contact. And the back pops through there for a nice game.
There he is, Pat Swilling. Crowd all stirred up now. 3rd and 8 for the Vikings. Ricky Jackson ran across the line, tapped Tim Irwin on the back, and he's pointing that Irwin drew him off.
Ball start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
And that's the way Jerry Markbright, our referee, saw it also. Tim Irwin passed his Tennessee bar exam in the offseason, Hank. Watch him go make a little illegal move this time.
And you can tell the reason he's doing that, he knows he's got to block the linebacker. He wants to get a jump on him, and he squealed it before the play was run. This is an interesting situation here. They'd be satisfied to get some of that yardage back, so they put them in the soup, and they won't give Anderson a chance to kick a field goal.
Chris Carter, gang tackled at the 50.
Man-for-man coverage, Swilling blitzing on the play, number 56. Watch Swilling coming from the weak side. Martin is coming inside, and watch Swilling coming from the backside, gives him a little shot in the back. But you better always know where Pat Swilling is. And the strategy of that last play, you wonder why did they throw one short? They just want to get good field position, more room, so they can't kick the ball and give Saints good field position because Morton Anderson is such a great kicker.
Newsom's a good punter also, and here's the return out to the 11-yard line. Vince Buck fielded that, Hank. You don't like that on synthetic turf inside the 10. The Saints will have it when we come back. To the playoffs, he's done it twice in his 6th season at New Orleans. Jim Mora is going for his 50th win in the National Football League today, and the same goes on the other side of the field for Jerry Burns. Burns is going for his 50th win as the coach of the Vikings. Kind of a milestone week around the league. Ditka tomorrow night goes for number 100, and Shula today number 300. First down for the Saints from their 10. Finnerty. Gain of about 2. Williams and Dolman combined. Finnerty gained over 80 yards in the second half last week running against the Rams.
Finnerty does not cut like Dalton Hilliard. That time he had a little crack, but he didn't. He has to slow down a little bit before he makes the cut. Hilliard sees it, and he's right through there. Finnerty can't do that.
Finnerty goes out. They replace him now with John Tice, the second tight end. Hayward is to single back on 2nd down and 8. Hebert looking for Quinn Early. And Rutland was right there with him. And Early didn't even look up.
See, there again, another illustration. They're playing a lot of man-for-man coverage, and you can do that if you have great corners. Minnesota has terrifically outstanding corners. That time they were faded again, covered well, and he threw the ball right over the top.
Well, Bobby Hebert is looking for his first completion against that secondary. He's 0 for 3 so far in this one. 3rd down and 8. And he drops back to the shotgun. 4 receivers for the Saints. 6 defensive backs for Minnesota. Lofting it too high for Martin. And a flag thrown back in the area of holding.
That time they had a weak side blitz. Weak side meaning to the split inside. Mike Merriweather, number
Holding.
57.
Number 70, offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
So they flag the new right guard, Chris Port, who steps in again, Hank, today for Derek Kennard, who had a freakish injury on Monday, a weightlifting injury.
Yeah, he lifted about 350 pounds, and his muscle tore, and the weight was right on his chest. They had to pry it out of his chest, really, because it was down there and bothered him so much when he mishandled the weight.
Barnhart forces Lewis to make the fair catch at his own 47. The 41-yard punt. Good starting position for the Vikings. We're scoreless. 5:22 left in the first. To start, this has been a very one-sided rivalry in recent years, and Jim Finks, the general manager of the Saints, had a few remarks about that earlier this week. We'll get to that after this play. First down for Minnesota from its 47. They run it end around Anthony Carter to the short side, and Sam Mills stays with them all the way. Only a gain of about 2. Hank, Jim Finks talking to the Touchdown Club on Monday. How about that comment?
Yeah, he said that anytime we hear the words Minnesota Vikings, our whole organization gets paralyzed. And then he quoted the scores of the last 4 games, and I think he did that to motivate this team. But the way they're playing right now, they haven't been motivated very much.
2nd and 7 for the Vikings. With time, low pass, incomplete. Intended for Anthony Carter. Gene Atkins and Brett Maxey in the area.
Swilling that time, blitzing on the play, man-for-man coverage in their nickel defense. Swilling, you better block him on every single play. If you don't, he's going to be right in your hair.
He is without question one of the best. We've got outstanding 56s today on defense. Dolman on the other side. 3rd and 7 for Minnesota. And incomplete. Boy, Cook had coverage on Anthony Carter.
Man-for-man coverage, safety blitz, Swilling blitzing on the play. That's bad. You see, you get good field position, Jim. The important thing is field position is good, but you better take advantage of it.
Watch Swilling blitzing again from the right side, coming in on Wilson.
Number 56, way on the outside, the bottom of your screen. But what he doesn't get there, but the passer, Wade Wilson, knows he's coming and throws the ball a bit too soon.
Newsom, a fair catch on the back end of it by Buck. 36-yard punt. The Saints again stuck inside of their own 20. They'll begin their next series from the 15. Well, so far 5 possessions, 5 punts. The Saints will start this series from the 15. Hayward and Walker have not been factors at the start.
Well, either team has had, the Saints haven't had good field position. Minnesota has, and they haven't been able to take advantage of it. And that's a great compliment to the great defense of the New Orleans Saints.
Pass play on first down. Finnerty drops it out of the backfield. Oh, he looked up to see Mike Merriweather, a man who had picked off 2 A-Bear passes a year ago, Merriweather, and Finnerty was rattled. He dropped the pass.
Man-for-man coverage on the play. He was wide open. They created that mismatch that time because they sent a guy in motion to change the strength of the formation with a strong safety and the weak safety. It went back away from the strong safety and had him wide open.
2nd and 10, 3-receiver formation for the Saints. Takes the first tackle and goes sideways across the 20. Set up 3rd and about 4. Inside blocking by Joel Hilgenberg, who has been out in recent weeks, Hank.
Watch Chris Port, number 70, the right guard on Thomas, number 97. See, all he does is pushes him the way he wants to go, opens up a cavity on the inside, and Hayward does the rest of it. As we talked about him earlier, you see how he drags people, knocks people down. He gives them the old Aunt Jemima shot. They're like pancakes when he gets through with them.
Pancake block? Uh-huh.
Right.
3rd down and 3, Hank. That was a 7-yard carry out of the shotgun. Finnerty running for the first, and it will be close.
That was a nickel defense that time, and they had a little success running off tackle with Finnerty on the play.
It's a first down for the Saints.
Finnerty does a good job, number 22. He gets it from the shotgun. A trap block on Noga by Brock. Brock does a terrific job of handling Noga. He goes right inside of that block and picks up yardage on the play.
Finnerty is a local kid, went to Jesuit High School in New Orleans, where Danny Abramowitz, one of the all-time favorite Saint players, is now the high school coach.
And Danny has really done a terrific job with the Jesuit High School football team.
They go back to Finnerty, and Henry Thomas chops him up in the backfield. Finnerty's getting the carries now, and not Hayward.
And Thomas, talking to him yesterday, he said, I said, do you miss Millard? He said, do I miss him? Are you kidding? He said, you know, now there's nobody to double team, and as a result, it's a double situation for Dolman and myself, because used to be we had some room to rush when Millard was in there, because they always double team.
More surgery for Millard. Millard, I should say, and he'll be out for the season. 2nd down and 12. Turner coming out of the backfield in motion. Finnerty on a short gain. That's Hebert's first completion, but it nets only about 3 yards. Audrey McMillan comes in the nickel situation. Big interception last week against the 49ers, and this time makes a nice stick on Finnerty.
And the other thing I think that's happening is the fact that the Minnesota Vikings are changing their coverage considerably. That time they were in a zone, and I don't think they expected that. And of course, McMillan, the 5th back, came up there and made a tackle.
He was a Veer quarterback at the University of Houston, Audrey McMillan. 3rd down and 9 for New Orleans. First down, Saints. Lloyd Turner.
6 defensive backs, and Hebert had somebody right in his face, and in spite of that, got the ball right to him perfectly. Here you see him coming from the outside in. There you wide open on the defensive back. Very good protection, except he had to throw the ball before he actually wanted to, because there was somebody right in his face as he threw the ball. Watch it. Right up the middle.
Al Noga.
Noga, 99.
The inside. First down for the Saints. They're in I formation. Finnerty, the tailback. There's a nice hole for him. Inside Minnesota territory to the 40. Bill Finnerty to the 20. Inside the 10. That's a 54-yard run for Gil Finnerty.
And you talk about a great run. Watch him read the play. They hook the linebacker on the outside. Browner comes in, tries to leg whip him. He gets a block inside, makes a couple of very good moves. And Lee finally makes the tackle, pushes him out of bounds. But a fantastic run by Finnerty.
That's the 2nd longest carry of his career. And Noga is down back at the line of scrimmage, back at the 40. I was surprised by the move that Finnerty made to sidestep Joey Browner.
Well, I tell you what he did. You know, in space, when he's got some room, he does that very well. He's a long-legged guy. But the great thing is the move right here in Hayward. Look at Hayward blocking. Look at the block he makes on Noga. That was the key block. Browner misses him and tries to leg whip him early. Number 89 gets a block inside, and the rest Finnerty does on his own. But a terrifically outstanding play by the Saints from a blocking standpoint and a running standpoint by Finnerty.
Here's a guy, as we see Al Noga now, on his feet and appears to be fine. Here's a guy, Gil Finnerty, who out of high school signed with LSU, but found himself behind 2 outstanding runners, including Dalton Hilliard. So he decided to transfer to Holy Cross. Now he's a backup to Hilliard, but Dalton's out for the day, and he's having a big performance through 1 quarter. The first quarter ends with the Saints driving inside of the 10, A scoreless first quarter from the Superdome. Well, it's a celebration day in New Orleans, and you know you don't have to have many reasons to throw a party in this city, but they're honoring the Saints' 25-year anniversary of the franchise, and a reunion has filled the weekend with former Saints players.
And how about we got Maurice Spencer, a terrifically outstanding corner at that time, up here helping us with a telecast.
First and goal for the Saints to start the second quarter. Ball was tipped and almost allowed Rutland to pick it up off the deflection. So someone got a paw on it at the line of scrimmage.
And I couldn't tell who it was, very honestly, Jim. I was looking at the defensive backs and missed it.
Watch Jimmy Williams, Hank, number 58.
There he is, right in the middle. He's the guy that got the hand up and deflected the ball.
Slot to the left, second and goal in a scoreless game. Hayward, touchdown, New Orleans.
Watch Hayward in this position. Watch him read the block to the outside and pop outside, go in there for the touchdown. Watch Hayward now. He's got good, quick feet. Look at him pop out to the outside. Look at the block downfield by 84 Martin. Beautiful play, great cavity, and of course Hayward does the rest by picking his way and going into a big hole.
Anderson automatic on the extra point. I'll tell you, Hobie Brenner also set the pace on that right side of the line.
The point is good. We have a unsportsmanlike conduct foul on number 76, Minnesota. A leverage foul. Leverage. 15 yards will be penalized on the kickoff.
That was against Tim Irwin, but Hayward now has 3 touchdowns on the season. Man who wears number 34 after his hero, Hank Earl Campbell.
Yes, and I asked him, I said, Mike, talking to you, sitting here talking to you, has anybody ever told you that you look like somebody famous? He said, yeah, everybody tells me I look like Mike Tyson. I said, right, you do.
Tell you, when he runs your way, he can knock you out about as fast as Tyson can in the first round.
One shot, rigor mortis. He gives you one hit, it's a rigor mortis shot.
Rigor mortis. That's
right. Shake the rosin out of your hair.
Giants only a field goal thus far on the Browns. Colts had scored only 13 points in the first 3 weeks. 10 so far in that one. And Shula going for number 300. Falcons are coming on, aren't they, Hank? We saw them win last week against San Diego. Team that started with 2 losses, just too good, though, to keep them down for long.
Yeah, he said, Jerry Glanville said last week, I don't know when it's going to be, but I guarantee it will be a contending team this year. And I think he's right. I think with any luck, they stay healthy. He's got a chance to be a contender.
Well, sellout crowd at the Superdome. Now wondering what Morton Anderson will do. They marked the penalty off on the kick. It's at the 50. If he lets this one fly, this could go into the upper deck. But you got a good chance for an onside kick.
This is the thing right here. You got to consider an onside kick, boys.
Not this time, boys. Darren Nelson got tangled up with the back judge, and he'll have to take it down for a touchback. Hank, you ready for a doubleheader day on CBS? We've got the Rams and the 49ers coming up next. That's a key one in the NFC West.
That's a funny series because the Rams usually do a good job in San Francisco and are bad when they play them at home.
Well, the Saints have a 2-game lead in the NFC West. And a win today would assure them a 3-game edge on the Rams-Niner loser. Now, look at them get Herschel Walker as they run down the line with him. Ricky Jackson takes him for a 1-yard loss.
You're not going to run sideways. Those linebackers are fantastic. Jackson, number 57, the left linebacker. Sam Mills, 51, coming over from the inside. Look at Jackson ward off the block and make the tackle. Boy, they react as well as anybody you see in the National Football League.
Ricky Jackson, in his 11th year, he got the game ball against the Rams last week. He had 2 sacks. 2nd down and 11.
You talk about a guy that dances every dance. That's what he does.
Wilson, Pat Swilling takes him out.
All right, we got Swilling coming over here on this side. Watching, coming over on the right side. Here we see him. See, in spite of that was kind of a power rush. Usually he's a speed rusher. That was a blitz on the play, and he got to the quarterback.
3rd down and 20. Carter. Well short of the first.
6 backs that time, zone defense. Swilling's got 3 kinds of rushes, a speed rush, a spin rush, and a power rush. And he's so quick and so fast that you better have 2 guys blocking him or else you're going to be out of business.
Well, you saw Vince Buck running back to field the punt. He just made the tackle on Carter. Chance for a return to the 40 and a late flag. That was another boomer by Newsom, 49 yards on that effort with a 6-yard run back.
He's really banging the ball, isn't he? He's averaging 50 yards a kick so far this season.
Like those footballs are all pumped up, Hank.
It's like they got helium in it.
Mark Bright talking to his crew. The Saints lead at 7-0 with 12:30 to go in the 2nd quarter. Craig Hayward on a touchdown run for the Saints. That's Milton Mack on the special teams coverage, a backup defensive back.
We have an illegal blocking foul on number 37 receiving team during the kick. A post-possession foul, 10-yard penalty, 1st down, timeout.
Well, they call it against Benny Thompson, who's one of the special team leaders for New Orleans. Saints will have the football with the lead when we come back.
Summary is sponsored by McDonald's.
Well, to summarize, the Saints' drive really sparked by a Finnerty run of 54 yards. Walker has been held in check, and the Vikings have been forced to punt on all 4 possessions.
I tell you, nobody really realizes what a great defense that Saint team is. Boy, they do a terrific job. Hard to run on them.
1st down, New Orleans from its 24. Hebert looking left, pump fake. Now lobbing it to Finnerty. He has it. Out of bounds at the 46. He hooked up with Finnerty, did Bobby Hebert, on his first pass of the season, and it went for a 50-yard touchdown. This time he goes to him again out of the backfield, Hank.
Yeah, he goes in motion to his left. He makes a move out into the flat. Browner is trying to cover him. He gives him a pump and goes right down the sideline. We don't see it very well, but there he is. Browner trying to coverage on his own defense. Look at Chris Dolman on the play, number 56. Getting into the quarterback on a twist play.
Look out! Off the hands of Martin, and Joey Browner was smelling 6. Hank, it's update time. Let's go back to New York. Take it away, Greg.
All right, Jim, at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, late in the first quarter, James Brooks goes 5 yards and into the end zone. The 0-3 Bengals leading the 3-0 Redskins in the second quarter now, 7-3. Back to Jim and Hank in New Orleans.
All right, Greg, thank you. Got to think Cincinnati's going to snap out of it today, Hank. I know how tough the Redskins are, but
they're too good. They're too good to be at 0-3.
Second down, 10. Merriweather, and a gain of about 2. That ball is ruled down. You know, you talked before about Keith Millard and how the team has adjusted without him. You really have to feel for Millard, the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year back in '89. He so desperately wanted to stay and play with this team this year because, of course, Minneapolis hosts this year's Super Bowl, and he thinks the Vikings will be there.
Well, the other thing about it is, you know, he has been such a dominant player during his career for the Minnesota Vikings. They missed that, and as I mentioned earlier, you go into a game, you had to have 2 people blocking him, which frees somebody else. Now they don't have the luxury of that, talking about Dolman and also Thomas.
3rd and 8, rookie Wesley Carroll comes in for the first time this season. He's the man in motion to the top. Down will stop the play.
Looked like too much time.
Delay of game, Hank, and you see Wesley Carroll, the Saints' second-round pick from Miami. He held out for 26 days and really got so far behind the rest of the receivers that he's been playing as the 5th receiver and, in fact, has even been inactive for the game. So now he's in. Again, this will be his first NFL snap. He's an excellent receiver. A big future for him in New Orleans. Let's check him out now. On the shotgun on 3rd and 13. They're going to Carroll. How about that? First down, New Orleans.
You shouldn't be able to do that, Jim. They were in a 3-deep zone. 6 defensive backs, zone defense, and they got the ball right over the top. Beautiful throw by Aber. And Carroll makes the catch of the first down.
But, Hank, there is a flag back.
Looks like it.
In the area of holding.
Holding number 67, offense. 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, that will nullify the standout debut for Wesley Carroll.
Watch 67, the right tackle on 99, on the right side of your picture. Look at that. He goes inside, trying to go inside, pushes him.
I didn't see any holding in there, Hank.
I didn't see any holding there. I wonder what he was looking at. That wasn't a holding penalty at all.
3rd and 23.
Might see a screen.
You got it, Hank. Penalty right ball. And bouncing around past the 40 to the 43. Good call, Coach, but it's short of the first after a gain of 10.
Reason you call a screen there, they're playing a zone and they're dropping back, and if you have a good back like Finnerty, why, if you get him out in the open in space, why, he might be able to stretch the whole thing and pick up the yardage and make a first down, and even if he doesn't, it really helps your kicking game.
Brock and Brenner and the Saints offensive line takes a blow. It is Barnhart with Leo Lewis deep. Leo Lewis turned 35 on Tuesday. 35-year-old punt returner. How about this boot? Barnhart angling for the corner, and he won't get it. Touchback after a 57-yard punt. Minnesota will bring it out to the 20, down a touchdown. And Hank Stram from the Louisiana Superdome on a beautiful weekend outside. And they're all charged up inside because of the Saints' 3-0 start to the season, best ever. And really, I think the fans here are more affected by their team's performance than in any other city, Hank.
Well, it's a fantastic crowd. I bet you there's nobody on the street. This is like a Super Bowl game for them.
First down for the Vikings from their 20. Wilson zips it, incomplete, and intercepted. Sam Mills with his second career interception.
Swilling blitzing on the play.
Intended for Hassan Jones. Brett Maxey put a stick on him, and it came right into the hands of Sam Mills, who in his 6th season now has 2 interceptions on the season, his first 2 of his career. He had not had any interceptions his first 5 years in the league.
Isn't it amazing? He had one last week, and he gets one this week.
And the Saints are set up now at the Minnesota 19. Hayward to the far side as a receiver. Now he comes back in, lining up on a wing to the right. Slot formation to the left. Finnerty the single back. Finnerty trying to get the corner. Chased down by Joey Browner and Jimmy Williams.
Hayward again that time on the wing. Got a good block on the outside, which provided some running room for Finnerty. Here he is over here. Watch what happens now. Watch him block to the outside. There it is. The key block kicks the guy outside, Browner, and he's able to run inside of him and make some yardage on the play.
Second down and 8. Hebert is hit as he throws it, and out of the end zone was Quinn Early. But Chris Dolman, who has had a very quiet year by his standards, Hank, this time put some heat on Hebert.
And he's another guy. Here you see him, 56, coming in the outside. He is a dominant player. He's a guy that should make 2 or 3 big plays for you during the course of the game. He hasn't done that consistently. He's doing a better job here this afternoon.
That was a Chris Dolman type play for sure. Third down and 8. One-on-one coverage. Looking for Turner. Oh, he had a shot at it too.
Well, he had it, but he didn't have control and possession.
Todd Scott was the man with him, one-on-one.
Watch now, he's on the left side. Breaks to the outside. Leans inside, breaks quickly to the outside, but he has to have possession and both feet in. Control and possession. He did not have that. Of course, didn't make the catch incomplete.
Morton Anderson, a 34-yard attempt. He has not missed this season. He's a perfect 4 for 4. And again. Automatic Anderson. That's what he is. It's now New Orleans 10 and Minnesota nothing. Sam Mills set up the field goal with the INT. 10-0, all of the points here in the second quarter. An Anderson field goal of 34 yards. In fact, the Vikings have been very successful this year, shutting people down inside of their own 20. Minnesota's allowed now 12 penetrations inside their 20, and only 3 times have teams taken it in for a touchdown. Another touchback situation, Hank. Anderson now 10 of 17 on the year, touchbacks on kickoffs. And, hey, we're really heating up this pennant race, Hank. And we've got coverage next Saturday, 2:30 Eastern Time, the Giants and Dodgers. Some will see the Braves against the Astros as we zoom in on that National League West race. Atlanta and Los Angeles. You'll get one of the teams next week, Baseball 91. Stay with us. to the close of the season, the playoffs, and of course the World Series here on CBS. First down for the Vikings. Walker, no. Swilling with the tackle for a loss.
They were trying to run a trap with the right guard pulling on the play. Swilling got the penetration and made the play.
Second and 11. Frank Warren just jumped across, again claiming he was drawn off.
Warren, 73, was out all last year because, let's see what they call here.
Well, a conference with 4 of the officials. Obviously some differing views on this one. Midway point of the second quarter, Saints lead 10-0.
It looked like it might have been a little move by the center.
We have encroachment, number 73, defense. We have a false start, number 83, offense. Both fouls prior to the snap and unrelated. Both fouls unrelated. Second down.
We'll just replay the down, Hank.
Yep.
Herschel Walker in this game now, 4 carries for 0 yards for Herschel Walker. Second in the NFC in rushing. Comes into the back end of that pile as Vaughn Johnson stopped Walker after a 4-yard gain. This is going against Minnesota.
You know, Frank Warren, I started to talk about him a little bit a minute ago, the defensive right end, number 73. He's 6'4", 290. He's a terrific football player. Was outlawed last year because of a drug substance abuse. We got him back this year, and he's been a big addition to the defense.
You talk about getting Hebert back to the Saints. Here's another starter they were without last year. He had his best season, Frank Warren, back in '89, and they tried 3 different players to replace him last year. That's how valuable he was.
You know, the funny thing about it is, you never know how things are going to work out before the season. Jim Morris said we cannot win without Dalton Hilliard. And if we lost Hildenberg, that would be a severe loss. We can't win without those people. And they've won 3 games. Amazing, isn't it?
Yes. Second and 20. Look out for the safety. Oh, right off the hands of Herschel Walker. As Swilling again came in on Wilson.
6 defensive backs. He's blitzing again. Swilling. Here he is on the outside. He got such a great start. Look at Jordan, 83, the tight end. They're in a left formation for the express purpose of making a tight end block him so he didn't get that space rush on the quarterback. And in spite of that, he still got around Jordan because of his quickness and got the piece of the quarterback.
It was as though he anticipated the snap on that one. Third down and 20 for Minnesota. Walker, right into Ricky Jackson. Ricky Jackson and Vincey Glenn combine on the tackle against Walker, and Newsom will have to punt out of his own end zone.
This is what you don't like because they returned the kick. They're already ready for a field goal.
Short punt. And down. Novoselsky downs it in Minnesota territory at the 47 of the Vikings.
See, now they make a first down or two. They're ready for a field goal.
Trying to knock out its nemesis as Minnesota again has just manhandled the Saints in the last 4 meetings. If you look at the last two, it's a 77-6 Viking margin. In the playoff game, January of '88, that's the one where Hassan Jones caught a Hail Mary right before the half. First down, Saints from the Vikings 48. Entered it for about a yard. John Randall on the tackle with some help from Ray Berry. Kevin Haberdink is out, Hank, at left tackle. He has a sprained ankle, and Richard Cooper steps in for him as he has done a couple of times this season.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to finish a game during the course of the season. He had some back spasms, had some problems, and he's out again right now with Cooper playing the left tackle position.
He'll face Chris Dolman right across him. Second down and 9. Incomplete, intended for Martin. Carl Lee collided with him right when the ball arrived.
There's never much separation between the defensive back and the receiver when you're playing Minnesota. We talked about it earlier. They play very well defensively, and the corners especially are extremely good.
Not good numbers by Hebert, but the fans now have finally backed off of Bobby Hebert, their Cajun quarterback, after a rousing round of boos the first week, Hank.
Well, that's what happens when you go 3-0.
Third and 9. Intercepted. Joey Browner down to the New Orleans 43. That pass was intended for the rookie Wesley Carroll. There is a flag on the opposite side of the field. Saints could be saved here by a defensive infraction. They are.
Third down.
Tremendous break for New Orleans that time, Hank.
Really was, but that's the kind of a thing you have to have happen to you when you're winning. They make the little things, make the big things happen. In the past, those things have been going against the Saints in this particular series.
Gil Finnerty lined up to the far left, the slot formation to the left on 3rd and 4. Chooses the right side. First down, New Orleans. Quinn Early with the reception.
Hebert's got a good touch. You know, he really had. That ball had to be thrown low, right at the numbers on the outside, and that's exactly where he threw it. Reception. Hebert, very accurate passer, and a very strong arm. Throws the deep ball very well, too. Here we see the motion goes to the outside, and he zipped it right where it had to be thrown. Had it been thrown upside, it might have dropped it.
First down from the Vikings 35. Big Fred Hayward running inside to the 30. 5-yard run. Ray Berry took him down.
I asked the Minnesota Vikings about Hayward yesterday, and they said, I hope he doesn't carry the ball much.
They don't like seeing him coming right at him, do they? All that size.
No, they don't.
Yeah, very unselfish attitude, very altruistic man, this Hayward. He says, I don't really need attempts to get into the flow of the game. I just want to be in there on snaps.
Yeah, earlier in his career, he was just going in on special occasions. As long as he said, I'm in the game, I'm fine.
Second down and 5. Another rushing attempt this time. Flag is on the field, a 1-yard loss. And Richard Cooper, just into the game, exchanges some words with Jimmy Williams. And now they make up. That's the second holding penalty in the first half against Chris Port. In for Derek Kennard, who the Saints had really felt they had stolen in a trade during training camp from Phoenix. But Kennard again is on IR for 4 weeks.
You know why they think they stole him? Because they did. He's a player, I'll tell you. 300-pounder. Great pass blocker, pulls at that weight. Good straight-ahead blocker. He's terrific.
Second down, 15, 4-receiver formation. Batted down. What a play by Audrey McMillan, denying Floyd Turner.
The other thing about Hebert, he hangs in the pocket. Very tough. He doesn't have nervous feet or happy feet. Hangs in there, watches for the receivers, reads the coverages, and gets the ball to the right guy.
He doesn't have great mobility either, Hank. He's got a banged-up knee, which also he's been icing down all the time. Limits him in the pocket. Third down, 15 to go.
They get a little closer. They got another 3 points.
Here comes Goldman. Hebert gets away from him and gets the completion for the first down at the 22. Quinn Early.
I tell you, we just got through talking about Hebert. Now he escapes from the pocket and throws that ball. And look at Dolman, number 56, coming on the outside. He gets pressure from him. Here he comes to the outside on Cooper. He hits his shoulder. He ducks underneath it, gets rid of the ball on the run, and still completes the pass. Really a great play by Bobby Hebert.
Hebert had that sixth sense. He couldn't see Dolman, but he could feel him coming up his back. First down, New Orleans. Good fake. Rolling. Hebert hitting his target. And again, it's Quinn Early. Pass for about 7 yards.
It's amazing how they got him. You talk about a steal, how they got him from San Diego on Plan B, and he's a starter here doing a great job.
Coming down, 2-minute warning we have reached in the second quarter. One that has stirred the sellout crowd as the Saints have put 10 on the board in the quarter, and they're looking for more. Melts a little wax, huh?
Yeah, you had to do everything you possibly could to help the team win.
Second and 3. Hayward, right side, and about a yard shy of the first. Ken Clark with the tackle. Now you have to think this is a situation where Hayward is a force on third and short yardage. This is a man who loves to talk in the huddle also, Hank.
Yeah, he does a little squeaking in there and has a lot of fun. Keeps him loose.
Third and 1.
You got to squirt some oil on him every once in a while.
Stop him from squeaking. Now he comes out in motion, so they're going to rely on Finnerty. Hayward had a lead block, but what a stick by Jimmy Williams to deny the Saints the first. Now the crowd murmuring, do they go for it or kick the field goal? They decided to use Hayward as the lead blocker that time, Hank.
Yeah, that's a scoop. That's a surprise. Watch Hayward going in motion. He gets a piece. He gives you a shot with those shoulder pads, gets a shot with on Lee, knocks him out of there, and of course, Williams comes inside and makes the tackle.
Yeah, Williams was able to fight off John Tice and make the tackle.
Williams really made a terrific play on the last run.
You've always been a Craig Hayward fan down this way. As we see now, Steve Walsh on the sidelines, who lost out to Hebert in a hotly contested quarterback duel during the preseason. As you folks up in Minnesota know, he's from St. Paul, Minnesota, from Cretin High School, and Steve Walsh's younger brother Chris, a senior at Cretin, is one of the top recruited quarterbacks in all of the nation. He's got Florida State, UCLA at his door, and Miami. They're going to kick the field goal. Anderson, 30-yard attempt. They take the three. Hank. They talked it over and decided to kick the field goal to make it now 13-0 with 50 seconds left in the half. What do you think?
I think it's a smart play. You better take any points you can get at this stage of the game. Let them accumulate. And this is a defensive game, so to speak, and the points are very important.
Superdome has seen a second quarter owned by the home team. Really, at the end of the first quarter, Finnerty exploded for the long run to put him inside the 10. That Hayward got the score, and now back-to-back field goals, 34 and 30 yards for Morton Anderson.
And the Saints have had the best of it from a field position standpoint. They've had to go 64 on an average of 64 yards on their drives, and the Minnesota Vikings had to go 75 yards on their drives.
Vikings and Jerry Burns have won the two games by a total of 4 points. A 1-point victory over Atlanta, a 3-point downing of the Niners last week. As we see the man with the $5,000 shoe, Morton Anderson, coming out to tee it up and kick it off. Final minute of the first half.
I talked to him about the $5,000 shoe. He said, well, that's what it costs to put the thing together. It'll be on the market in a year or two for under $100.
I don't know what the big deal is about a $5,000 shoe. You wear at least that expensive a shoe.
My whole closet isn't worth $5,000.
$5,000 shoe for $1 million leg. Morton Anderson.
I don't even have a car that costs that much.
Not after yesterday. And Anderson again will force the Vikings to take the touchback.
And the Vikings, 6 offensive drives, have made 1 first down. Only 1 of 6. They've been in the goulash all afternoon.
Is that a popular dish down this way, Hank?
Oh, it's a big dish in Gary, Indiana.
Okay.
I love it.
1st and 10. Let's watch the Vikings now to see what they do with all 3 of the timeouts and 50 seconds to work with. Middle pattern. Anthony Carter taken down at the 27. Gene Atkins getting up and exchanging some words with Anthony Carter.
You know, with the way the rush is, Jim, I'm a little surprised that they don't try to move the pocket a little bit. Talking about Minnesota, they're getting such great pressure from the New Orleans Saints. They ought to reduce half of it, roll one side or the other. They at least got half of the pressure.
Wilson now will just race for the sideline, trying to extend to the first down. They're going to spot it at the 29. They'll deny him by a yard. That stops the clock. 15 seconds to go.
See, the defense loves it when they know the quarterback's always going to be a 5-step drop or a 7-step drop right behind the center. Anytime he deviates from that pattern and rolls right, rolls left, throws quickly, you put a lot more pressure on the defense and take some of the pressure off of your offensive lineman. This has not been successful. They got to do something in the second half.
3rd and a yard to go. Only 15 seconds left in the quarter. Now, will they burn a timeout? Yes, they do. They stop it with 10 after Walker picks up the first. That's the first down for Minnesota since the 8-minute mark of the first quarter. You know, Wade Wilson had expressed last night to us, Hank, how important it would be for the Vikings to get on the scoreboard early to take this crowd out of the game. They have not gotten on the board at all in the first 29 minutes, 50 seconds of this game.
They've been stuffed. They really have. They've been, you talk about a taffy pull, that's what this has been as far as their offense is concerned. They haven't been able to do much offensively at all against this number one defense of the New Orleans Saints. They're not the only team. Nobody has run against this team in the first 3 games, and now they're not running against it either. They thought with the 3 wide receivers and spreading the field like they did with their 4 receivers, 3 receivers, and a tight end, they would be able to loosen things up and be able to run some, but that hasn't been the case. They have not been able to run.
They were not wanting to come to New Orleans and get involved in a taffy pull. That's what it's been. What time for Wilson? And knocked down, incomplete. Reggie Jones, a rookie defensive back, knocked it down. Chris Carter was the intended receiver. I'm going to make one little small reminder here. The last time the Vikings played in the Superdome was the playoff game 3 years ago, and the Vikings scored on this very situation. They scored on a Hail Mary on the final play of the half to Hassan Jones. And they send Jones and a fleet of receivers to the right side. Intended for Jones.
He caught it.
He made the catch, but instead of 6, it's just a big gainer. It will help pad the stats from the first half for the Vikings. That was a 43-yard pass play to that same man, Hassan Jones. That's the end of the first half with the score. New Orleans 13 and Minnesota nothing. As well.
You got a great memory for being 2 years old at that time.
That's a little older than that. Billy Kilmer and many other former Saints here for the weekend. And now you're looking at Quinn Early, who will be receiving the second half kick. And there you see the Saints' time of possession, Hank. A 7-minute edge. Rushing yards. Big advantage also for the Saints.
Well, the big difference really is that the Saints defensively have just been marvelous. And they have to do this again in the second half. And the kickoff by Revez here, kickoffs, he's much stronger this year than he was last year. He has 6 touchbacks already this year. Had 7 all last season put together, so he's off to a great start.
And Revez kick bounces at the 11. Gene Atkins will run it back. Atkins spinning around to the 24. And I'll tell you, it's heating up on the field, Hank. Atkins has mixed it up a few times with Anthony Carter. There have been some other words exchanged.
Well, they're both playing with a lot of animation, a lot of emotion, and it's a very, very, very meaningful game to the New Orleans Saints, of course, and it's very important to the Minnesota Vikings, too, because they're chasing the Bears.
Bobby Hebert's first win as a starting quarterback in the NFL was against Minnesota. It was 1985 on the road. It was also Bum Phillips' last game as the coach of the Saints. But Hebert remembers it well because it was his first win. And now firing. Batted down. Jimmy Williams cutting across to help out Reggie Rutland as they were looking for Eric Martin.
You really have to be impressed. We've talked about it and touched on it earlier in the game, but you have to be impressed with the defensive secondary of Minnesota. There's not much, as I mentioned earlier, there's not much separation between the receiver and the defensive back, regardless where the ball is from.
They're calling a defensive holding penalty against Carl Lee. You see him at the bottom of your screen, Hank.
Well, that's a good reason why they're so close.
That's one reason, right?
Yeah.
Just a little grab, not much of one, really.
Just enough for the official to see it.
Pull out the flag and give the Saints the automatic first and a 5-yard step off. First down from the 29. Finnerty. Jimmy Williams again on the tackle. Jimmy Williams has made some plays today. He's the man who replaced Mark Duzbabic, who injured his knee against Chicago. Longtime member of the Detroit Lions. Came over here, in fact, last December, just for the final couple of games after Detroit cut him late in the season.
I tell you, he's playing with a lot of enthusiasm here this afternoon. He's been involved in a lot of good plays.
Audrey McMillan comes in now. Pass defense for Minnesota. 2nd and 6. Finnerty getting a workout. And a flag down as he comes within a yard of the first. It's already been indicated that it's against the Saints.
Jim Dombrowski, the left guard, I should say, Dombrowski, is really having a terrific year. An outstanding player. He's big and he's strong. He pulls well, pass blocks, does it all.
Offense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Well, I hate to bring up Joel Hilgenberg's name at this time after being called for the penalty, but here's a man the Saints really welcome back onto the offensive side of the field. He's only been in there on special teams the last couple of weeks because of a severe ankle sprain.
He's not quite as big as you'd like for him to be, but he's a technique guy. Artistically does a very outstanding job of blocking at the point of attack, and he calls all the plays and all the blocking assignments for the offensive line.
Brad Leggett has done a good job of filling in for him for 2 games. Almost intercepted. Reggie Rutland reached up and knocked that one down, intended for Floyd Turner.
And talking about Hilgenberg, you know, he's only 6'2", weighs 252. And at the end of the season, he's about 245. Not very big for a center.
Third down and 16. Reception is Floyd Turner, but short of the first. Audrey McMillan on the coverage. It's a gain of 12, but the Saints come up short.
6 defensive backs again that time, and of course, even though they didn't make the first down, they got a lot more field position from a kicking standpoint, and will drive the Minnesota back out of good field position unless they get an outstanding kick return.
Tommy Barnhart, good average today.
I talked to him the other day at practice. He says he kicks about 60 balls when he comes back to practice on Wednesday, 60 on Thursday, and he doesn't kick at all the rest of the week.
Well, he'll like this one. There'll be no return. Leo Lewis with the fair catch at the 24-yard line. However, a flag back at the line of scrimmage, Hank.
Yeah, that means it's going to be against New Orleans, I'm sure. Usually when they drop it in that part of the field, why it's against the kicking team. We'll see, though.
It's against the Saints, yes.
Illegal man downfield, number 37, kicking team. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Vikings want him to punt it again. Now, we mentioned that while Hilgenberg was out, a first-year player stepped in for him, Brad Leggett. And Hank, he did a good job. And a little Saints history here with Brad Leggett. His father played for the team back in the first 2 years.
And he's, you know...
His father, Earl.
Yeah, Earl, and he's on the coaching staff of the Los Angeles Raiders, like Al Davis says, the Raiders.
And Hank Stram, you always say it too. Raiders.
Right.
Raiders. Free kick for Barnhart. Another fair catch as Vincey Glenn hurdles past Lewis. That's a 49-yard punt. And we'll check out Minnesota for the first time in the second half on offense when we come back. What do you think they're discussing on the sideline, the Saints offensive line crew?
Well, they're talking about responsibilities offensively. Paul Boudreaux, the offensive line coach of the New Orleans Saints, and what a tremendous job he has done with a patched-up offensive line. He's one of the very best in the league.
The Vikings huddled on the sideline, and then they jogged into formation. First down for Minnesota from its own 21. Steve Jordan banged around but holds on for the Vikings first at the 35.
See, they've only moved the pocket one time in the first half, and they succeeded in throwing a big pass to Steve Jordan, their tight end. I think they've got to do some more of that in the second half to try to escape and eliminate the pass rush.
Jones to the right, the Carters to the left on first down. Between tackles, Walker to the 38. Hank, it's update time. Back to you, Greg Gumbel in New York. Fill us in, please.
All right, Jim, at Indianapolis, watch the Lions in on Colts punter Ron Stark. He never has a chance. The ball was downed at that point, but 2 plays later, Barry Sanders scored, and the Lions lead the Colts 14-10 in the third. Jim?
All right, Detroit will be hosting Minnesota in 2 weeks. And what a comeback by the Lions after being flat-out embarrassed in the opener against the Redskins. Second down and 5 for the Vikings. Look out, they fake the Carter. Now lob it. Walker makes a nice catch. He fumbles it. And hold on, did Johnson catch it before it went out? We're going to rule, I believe, Minnesota football that Vaughn Johnson did not grab it in time. Sam Mills stripped it. I'm sure this will be one worth reviewing.
Swilling again, blitzing on the play, but watch him come out here now. Here's the ball. See, now it bounces up in the air. Here we see it. I couldn't tell where his feet were.
That was the question. He had possession, Hank.
Yeah, he wasn't bobbling the ball. He had possession, but both feet have to be in. Let's see.
This
get
will
a better angle.
Yeah, this will be the conclusive replay right here.
Yeah, there it is. Now let's see where his feet touch. There's one. Nope, he's out. He's out, boys. He's out. Good picture. Yeah, he's out.
Sam Mills just stripping the ball out of Purcell's hands.
Left foot is in, right foot is out.
Right foot does not get down.
No
Okay?
contact.
But Mark Wright will hold the Vikings because the replay booth is going to take another stare at it.
I don't know why you'd have to look at it again.
Stands. Third down.
All right, Dave Kamansky in the replay booth agrees with you, Hank, because the play will stand. It'll be Vikings football and 3rd and 1. Okay, those two work so well together, Johnson and Mills on the inside. Let's see what they do here. 3rd and 1. And a fumble. Randall McDaniel in the backfield. May have fallen on it. This was the big red formation, Hank, where they bring in Randall McDaniel and use him as a lead blocker.
Well, the worst thing about it was a reverse pivot. It takes time to do that. You don't get a chance to see the ball carrier. As a result, it was mishandled and never had a chance to succeed.
Tug of war going on at the bottom of that pile, Hank. And they say Minnesota retained possession, setting up 4th down and Harry Newsom to punt.
Well, they dodged the mine that time. They almost stepped in a mine. Look at that. He got out of there. Well, I think he got out of there, didn't have possession of the ball. I think he was trying to get out fast enough to get the reverse pivot and didn't get around fast enough. Of course, didn't have the ball.
Looked like Kirk Loudermilk fell on it. Look out. Oh, I tell you, that was almost blocked. Vince Buck on the run back. Taken down at the 30 by Ivan Caesar. So the Saints defense, the story again. That was James Williams coming in on Newsome.
Took the wrong angle. This kick should have been blocked. Watch Williams coming up the middle that time, and he goes beyond the kicker. Had he sacrificed his body in front, about a yard in front of the kicker, he'd have blocked the kick.
First down pass play, Eric Martin, and they're going to rule it complete. And that is his first catch of the game, Hank. And like Anthony Carter, he too has a consecutive game streak. That's now 61 for Eric Martin. That gets him on track. And no huddle offense for the Saints. Trying to surprise this Vikings defense. We'll call it 2nd and 4. Oh, Henry Thomas makes the sack on Hebert.
Nickel defense got off the ball like he was in the starting blocks in a track meet, got the penetration and made the sack. See, that's the kind of penetration they haven't had. They used to get that consistently in the past, but they haven't had it so far this season.
Henry Thomas played his college ball in Baton Rouge for LSU. Familiar with these grounds, he was the MVP of the Sugar Bowl defensively back in '87. He played for the Tigers. Look out. Hebert now. Oh, he laterals it to Hayward, and he picks up the first. Talk about improvising. How about that?
And talk about running through the traffic and the revolving door. Hayward ran through some people to get the necessary yardage for the first down.
Watch Hebert, after he makes the pitch, put the block on Merriweather, Hank.
Yeah, that's it. But watch Hayward. Look at this. He throws a block on Merriweather, 57. But look at Hayward. He goes right through the group, goes right through the pile, and picks up another 5 yards. That's what we talked about before the show. That's what determines a great back, how much yardage he gets after he's been hit.
First down for the Saints. Finnerty. That was a nice burst of speed to the 49 of the Vikings, a gain of about 6. Felix Wright made the tackle on him.
I tell you, Finnerty's got good eyes, good vision, and when he's got some space and can read a block, he is sensational at times.
Saints with 3 tight ends into the game on this play. Tice, Wainwright, and the starter, Hobie Brenner. 2nd and 4. Look out! Hayward wanting to throw. Looking downfield for Early. Yes, at the 5. He makes the catch. Well, he waited a while, but I guess he decided better early than late. And the sliding catch down to the 5, Hank.
I tell you, he's something. He threw that like he pulled a pin and threw a hand grenade, but he got it over the top in good shape. Most of the time, in that kind of a situation, early, really maintained good concentration.
There was a flag. It would have been interference, obviously, the call, Hank.
Yeah, but
against the Vikings, refused. And Quinn Early on the pass play from Hayward has the Saints set up 1st and goal at the 5.
It's a good time for a play action pass. No.
Hayward tackled for no gain. Merriweather and Felix Wright.
The nice thing about a play-action pass in that situation, Jim, is the fact you got double tight ends, so you got maximum security, and they're looking for a run. You stick it in the belly and roll out one way or the other. They're going to take a whiff of the fake, and you got to go in there for the touchdown. Now they got a 2nd and 5 situation, and it's a passing situation. But they still have 3 downs to get the 5 yards.
That was Hayward's first completion as a pro. He had thrown a pass last year, and it was intercepted. 2nd and goal from the 6.
There he is, boys.
Intercepted! Reggie Rutland stepped right in front of Eric Martin had he not slipped. Look out for about 100 yards on that one. Reggie Rutland's first interception of the season. You could almost feel it coming. He's been so close several times today. And he jumped right in front of Eric Martin.
Yes, but I couldn't tell, Jim, whether that was a play-action fake or what it was. If it was a play-action, it was a terrible fake. Let's see. No, it was just a rollout. He'd have been much better with a play-action because you stuff it in the belly of the fullback and he's going to hold somebody and get thrown outside. Here it is again. Just a rollout.
And Rutland trying to make the cut to dart up the sidelines, lost his footing. Hebert's upset at himself. Here's the play action by Wade Wilson. High into the air, the catch is made by Chris Carter. And he gets the double whammy from Sam Mills and Ricky Jackson.
Hebert is a fierce competitor. And he's a winner. Has been a winner throughout his collegiate career, his professional career. And he expresses a lot of discontent on that last play.
2nd down and 5. Walker just can't seem to get any kind of room to work with. The Saints are beating them right on the line before Walker even gets a chance to find any hole.
They're not getting any kind of a shove, any kind of a push, talking about the offensive line of Minnesota. That's why the poor guy can't make any yardage. Walker so far has carried the ball 8 times for 14 yards.
And 3rd and short for the Vikings. Let's call it 3rd and 3. Intended for Walker.
There again, Sam Mills. See, they're trying to dump it off to Walker. The ball was thrown poorly. Had to throw it again. He threw that earlier in the game, and he threw it exactly the same way, both into the ground. I'm telling you, Jim, if they don't start moving the pocket and trying to put different kind of pressure on the Saints defense, they're going to be in the soup all afternoon, the rest of the afternoon. They just haven't been able to generate any kind of offense.
Harry Newsom. Low one this time. Buck from his 42. He dashes across the 50. And with 5:28 left in the quarter, Saints lead it 13-0. Out of the Superdome is any place around the National Football League. Sold out today as the Saints, a perfect 3-0 on the season, trying to extend the best start in franchise history. Jim Nantz along with Hank Stram. New Orleans with the football from the Minnesota 48-yard line. The pitch to Finnerty. Made a little stutter step move at the start of that run and gains about 5. Hank, what a lineup next week on CBS. Another doubleheader day. Red Hot Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills will play host to the Chicago Bears. Now, both of these teams are unbeaten going into this weekend. And it could be a battle of unbeatens next week when they play at Rich Stadium. Also, the Giants will be at Dallas. We'll be in there for the Atlanta Saints game. And the second game, San Francisco against the Raiders. That's doubleheader action next week here on CBS.
A lot of bullets to be flying next week, I guarantee you that.
2nd down and 5. Finnerty about 2 yards short of the first. Let's check the latest from around the league. Update time with Greg Gumbel in New York. Take it away, Greg.
All right, Jim, in Indianapolis, Lions quarterback Rodney Peete had a little equipment trouble, so up steps Eric Kramer, 12-yard touchdown pass to Willie Green. And with the extra point, the Lions on top of the Colts, 23-10 in the third. Jim?
Colts in danger of dropping to 0-3, Hank, or 0-4 on the season, I should say, if the Lions are able to hold on for victory.
They've had a history of starting very slowly, and they just can't seem to get off the track.
Yes or no? Ron Meyer in trouble there, you think, if he loses today?
I don't think he'll be in trouble this year. I hope not. I hope they give him a chance to stay all year.
3rd down and 3 for the Saints. That'll pick up the first. Eric Martin with Carl Lee on the coverage. Just enough to pick up the first.
6 defensive back, man-for-man coverage. There again, he got the ball good and low. You throw those kind of balls up beyond, above the numbers and above the shoulder pads. A lot of times you have a tipping drill and it winds up being incomplete. You got to throw that one just where he threw it, right between the numbers. And then there's no chance if it is incomplete, it's going to go right down to the ground instead of up in the air.
Jerry Burns and Jim Mora each going for their 50th win as a head coach. First down for the Saints.
That bump and run, sometimes you think they're going to go up on top.
Finnerty for maybe a yard. In some action about 10 yards down the field. Now they break it up a bit. Finnerty getting more attempts today than Hayward. 14 carries for 80 yards. What about the coverage here, Hank?
Well, look at the tight coverage. See, bump and run, man for man. But on the other side, it was 1-for-1 instead of 2-on-2. You had a good chance to go up on top and make a big play.
80 yards rushing for Finnerty on 14 attempts, and Hayward now offset to the left has 9 attempts for 45 yards.
They like to run that counter trade play on this play with Hayward blocking.
2nd and 10. There's a block by Hayward. And head spring Finnerty and twisting for the first. That was a 12-yard run and a collision right in front of Finnerty after he took the handoff, Hank.
Yeah, look at this good blocking at the point of attack, and watch Hayward blocking. Terrific running on the part of Finnerty. Look at that. Watch the block they get on Thomas. See, he hits him and he knocks him over. And Finnerty does an excellent job of running the football, securing the football, and not fumbling it, makes a nice gain on the play.
First down from the Vikings 25. Down by Dolman. There's a great play by Dolman. Backside pursuit for maybe a loss of a yard on the play.
You got a better chance tackling him from the backside than you do when you're in front of him. That's for sure.
Hank, we suspected the Bengals might break out of it today, but they're down 10 to the Redskins. And there's a team ready to get picked off today. The Oilers at the Patriots. 2nd down and 11. That was a tackle for a loss by Dolman. 1 minute, 6 seconds to go in the quarter.
Look at that straight ahead stuff right up the middle.
Where they're headed. Yep. Maybe a yard on that carry, boys.
It looked like there was a big hole there, but they stuffed it good, didn't block it well at the point of attack. Middle linebacker was back there about 4 yards and looked like he'd get a good push. But by the time he got there, it was gone. School was out. Now look at the soft spot. Look at the bubble right up the middle. Watch the 2 guards. Watch what happens. See, they double team. Nice block there, but they don't get the offside, and that's Dolman.
It's Dolman again.
Yeah, yep. Dolman coming in, pinching from the other side, is the one who made the tackle.
Back-to-back plays for Dolman. 3rd and 9 for the Saints. Leading 13-0. Hebert sticks it in the belly of Finnerty, fighting for yardage, but downed at the 20. That will run out the play of the 3rd quarter. The Minnesota Vikings have not allowed a point in the 4th quarter. Their defense must hold, their offense must come to life, because through 3 quarters, it's New Orleans 13, Minnesota nothing. Well, the man who seemingly never misses is on the field, Morton Anderson, trying to kick a field goal for the Saints to open the fourth quarter and open up a 3-score advantage against the Vikings.
This is a gimme. This is a gimme for this guy. He never misses. He's amazing, and he doesn't have any follow-through. He wants to thump the ball, not follow through, so he doesn't get a helicopter, a Humperdinck effect on the ball after he kicks it.
Gotta watch that Humperdinck, 38-yard attempt. And that absolutely split it in half. 16-0, and we'll return to New Orleans after this message from your local station. You are watching the National Football League on CBS.
Al Hoyt, our good friend, is coming back to New Orleans. He took two and hit the right and left town for a couple of years, but he's coming back, opening his business again, and everybody's excited about Jumbo coming back. Al Hoyt.
Anderson again will not be returned. He is 5 for 5 today in touchbacks. The big second game of our doubleheader is coming up next, the Rams and the Niners. And the Rams have won the last 3 regular season games at Candlestick against the 49ers. But they have to get Jim Everett going, Hank.
Yeah, well, they have to get more than that going. They got to run the ball. They haven't been able to run the ball very well either, Jim. They haven't been able to do what they've done in the past for that Ram team.
Play action. Sideline route. Carter dives for it. Let's keep you updated. Greg Gumbel with the honors from New York.
All right, Jim, first play of the fourth quarter at Miami. Don Majkowski for Green Bay, back to pass in the end zone, waits, and then just drops the football. Chuck Kleinbill recovers in the end zone, 13-13 tie. Packers and the Dolphins in the fourth. Jim?
Coach, you can just see gray hairs popping out for Lindy Infante after that one. Second down and 10. Walker for only a yard. Jim Wilkes with the play. How about his matchup today with Kirk Loudermilk? How has he fared?
Well, he's done very well. There hasn't been much yardage made. The last time they played, he controlled them pretty well. Loudermilk did, but he hasn't done it in this game at all. Nobody's controlled that offensive line. The Minnesota Viking defense has been excellent, but the offensive line. But you have to give a lot of credit to the New Orleans Saints. You can't blame the Minnesota Vikings. New Orleans has been fantastic.
3rd and 9 to go. Wilson comes in. Wilson gets away. Oh, and he may be about a half yard shy. He's going to be short at the first as Sam Mills and Vince Buck knew where that first down yardage stood.
Watch Loudermilk, number 63, coming off here on Wilkes. Look at this. On Warren, that's Warren, number 73. They get a good hole there. That's one of the few holes they've had all afternoon.
Hank, it's 4th and less than a yard, and after talking it over, Jerry Burns has brought in some extra tight ends. Brent Novoselsky.
They better not use that red formation in this area.
That's what they're going to go with, it looks like. Randall McDaniel in the backfield, and Burns calls the timeout. So a critical 4th and a yard coming up for the Vikings, who trail by 16. And 4th and less than a yard to go for the Vikings. Jim Nantz, along with Hank Stram, and the coach, is sitting here prancing around debating this call. And what do you think, Hank?
No, I'm not debating it. I think they ought to kick. There's too much time. If they don't make the first down, they give the game away. Plus the fact that if they do make it, they haven't moved the ball well enough, really, to jeopardize their field position like they are if they miss it. Throw a play-action pass here. That's what they ought to do.
Go! The Dome Patrol was on duty on this one, Hank. Sam Mills stuck him.
Look at the surge on this. Look at Mills come over the top. You know, that play, running that kind of a play, Jim, is like squirting perfume on a skunk. Doesn't do any good. No chance whatsoever. Not to where they're playing defensively.
Finnerty for about 3.
This game summary is sponsored by Budweiser.
Herschel Walker now with 10 carries for 15 yards, and the Saints over double in time of possession. The Vikings have not run a play in Saints territory. You'll recall the Hail Mary to end the half ended in Saints territory, but they didn't run a play from the Saints into the field. 2nd down and 7.
And here again, they already got 3. Now they can play around to get 7, but they already got 3 with Morton Anderson the way he kicks. Ball!
Minnesota football. Chris Dolman with the recovery. That's the 2nd turnover against the Saints, an interception in this half by Rutland, and now Dolman with the fumble recovery.
I tell you, Dolman has played an outstanding game here this afternoon. The defense has really played exceptionally well. Talking about Minnesota, along with a great job, which is obvious, of the New Orleans Saints. Here they come. Hayward blocked. Look at the big hole, and look at it close before he got there. It looked like he was going to get a lot more out of that play. And they put the squeeze on him, put him in a vice, jarred the ball loose.
Wilson rolling out of the pocket. He fumbles the football. Scooped up by the Saints. Pat Swilling with the ball.
Got him.
Spike for Swilling, and the Saints get the ball back on back-to-back turnovers.
Run right.
Hayward bouncing around to the 13. Felix Wright would not let go.
See, one guy never tackles him. He always going to bounce off and get more yardage on the play.
Cincinnati coming back on the Redskins. I think Swilling was entertaining thoughts of dashing to the end zone. He scored his first career touchdown in the opener here against Seattle. He was looking for another one. 2nd and 7. Oh, he takes Al Noga for a ride.
He needs a saddle on his back. You jump right on and take a little hippity-hop.
That's like riding the bull over at Mickey Gillies' place over in New Orleans, where you just get on there and you can bounce around a little bit.
Yeah, that doesn't move, though, except up and down.
This one does.
Yep.
Third down and 2. Buford Jordan has come into the backfield, offset to the right to join Hayward. He comes out in motion now, goes Jordan. He set a lead block for Hayward. Hayward's in the 5. Hayward is in for the touchdown, his 2nd of the day.
see him. Look at the block. Jordan out in front. He gets a beautiful block. That's why they reactivated him. And watch Hayward. Look at this. They get him hit him at 3 yards, and he takes him right to the end zone.
Extra point makes it now New Orleans 23, Minnesota nothing with 10:37 left in the game. 2 8-yard touchdown runs for the day for Greg Hayward. Well, the party has started, and it'll go way into the night, deep into the week for the Saints fans.
They'll go right into the next game they play. I guarantee you. This crowd, this audience in New Orleans is out of sight. They're terrific.
Next week, New Orleans at Atlanta. Anderson now, will he keep his perfect touchback record intact? Certainly.
That's discouraging when you know every time you get the ball you start on the 20. You have to go 80. Well, that's a lot of real estate to cover, the way this defense is.
What a day for the Saints defense. Again, as they have shown this season. And the Superdome crowd is going crazy as the New Orleans team is experiencing its first ever undefeated start to the season. Jim Nantz and Hank Stram sold out here in New Orleans. That is ruled incomplete to Chris Carter. Toy Cook on the coverage. Now here's a guy right here, Hank, who 2 years ago was on the field when Flipper Anderson set the record with 15 catches in a game for 336 yards. And last week, Anderson and the Rams were back in here. Cook was on the coverage, and he held him without a reception. He held Flipper without a catch.
And he doesn't have great speed, but he's got great awareness. Excellent.
2nd and 10. Screen to Walker. Vince Buck with a good move on Walker to stop him after a 6-yard gain.
Watch Swilling again, number 56. The right of your screen coming on the outside. Look at Jordan, the tight end, trying to block him again. He hasn't blocked him very well all afternoon. And also Zimmerman trying to help him out, but they blocked him right into the quarterback.
3rd and 4. Pass too low. Intended for Jordan. The sign showing the 4 Saints linebackers saying it all, simply the best. And as a group, Hank, you have to agree.
Well, there's no question about it. We talked about this once before. If you were going to pick an all-pro, all-around team, we'll come back to that.
Oh, Buck was hit hard as he is somersaulted at the 30-yard line. I think what you were about to say, you put your all-time defense together as far as a group of linemen, linebackers, and defensive backs.
Yes.
You pencil in the Saints at the linebacker spot.
That's right. The defensive backs, when they're healthy, of Kansas City, and the defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles, that would be a super team.
Of course, if Millard was healthy, you'd have to probably say Minnesota as well as Philadelphia.
No, I don't think so.
Nope,
I think Philadelphia is too big and too strong.
First down and a timeout.
That's Hank's dream defensive team. And a timeout after the penalty. They'll back up the Saints to the 19, but they're in command with a 23-0 lead. 9:42 left in the game. Pick up his 50th career win today, and he'll knock off one of only 3 teams he has failed to beat as the head coach of the Saints. Miami, he's faced only once. He's never beaten the Dolphins. He's never beaten the Redskins. And until today, he had never defeated the Minnesota Vikings. Walker and Hayward, the numbers today. Hayward adds about 2 to his total. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the New Orleans Saints, and the National Football League is prohibited. Second and 7.
Like to run this counter tray with the left guard and left tackle pulling. See if they do. Here they go. Dombrowski.
Finnerty is now over 100 yards on the game. We showed you Greg Hayward's numbers. Now Finnerty has the big total, over 100.
Watch the left guard, Dombrowski, 72, pulling on the play. There he goes. You see Hayward going through. That's a double whopper block. You talk about some whoppers. That's a double whopper with Hayward and Dombrowski.
That's one of your favorites. 19 carries, 105 yards for Finnerty. That's a career high. Third down and 3 for New Orleans with 8:10 to go in the game. Incomplete. Reggie Rutland again reaching around and knocking it away. Intended for Eric Martin.
Defense, both teams have really been sensational here this afternoon. Minnesota, except for a couple of plays with that long run by Finnerty.
Rutland's had some big plays, including
a
goal line interception.
That's right. Yeah, they're everything the Saints thought they were going in. I know, talking to Bobby Ebers, we talked about it earlier. I've never been around him when he had more respect for a couple of defensive backs than he did for Rutland and Lee. Talking about cornerbacks.
You know, all 3 of the Vikings' interceptions this year have been in goal line situations. Felix Wright, McMillan, and now Rutland. Leo Lewis from his 25. Dives to the 35. That was a 50-yard punt. Hank, here's your lineup for Saturday. Saturday on CBS, 2:30 Eastern Time. We're going to hone in on that National League West race. Some will see the Giants and the Dodgers on the coast. Others will watch the Braves against the Astros from Houston. You'll get one of the games, key games, obviously, in that Dodgers-Braves race next week on CBS.
And I hope that our pal Jack Buck is able to be back next week. He's had a little tough time this last week, but I think he's going to stage a great comeback and be back in business a week from now.
He'll be so. Yep, I hope so. He'll be ready. Intercepted. Vincent Glenn. That's Vincent Glenn's second interception of the season.
Secondary of the Saints is the best they've had since Moore has been here. He threw it to the guy who was open. Glenn, number 29, makes the catch, takes it back there. Another good chip shot for Morton and Anderson right now. Now all they got to do is take some time off the clock, see if they can get a touchdown.
There's a guy who played for the Chargers last year, signed Plan B in the offseason with the Raiders, and then traded here. Hebert to Quinn Early for a gain of about 7.
White on good coverage made a big hit on the play, but he still made the catch. And Hebert had to throw it exactly where it had to be thrown.
Hank, Vincent Glenn again bouncing around from the Chargers to the Raiders, and then traded here. Al Davis to the Saints, but Jim Mora was tipped off from his son at San Diego, the secondary coach, about Glenn's abilities.
Yeah, Jim said that he'd been talking to his son about this guy for some time. His boy liked him very much, and when it came right down to the time they might trade for him, he called him again, and on the recommendation of his son, why he took him, and he's done a very outstanding job here for the Saints.
Ray Berry buries Finnerty near the first, and they'll call for the change. Gil Finnerty with his second 100-yard performance of his career, the top rushing total of his career, stepping in for Dalton Hilliard, inactive today with the lingering knee problems.
I've never seen a game, been involved in a game with Finnerty ran the ball as many times as he did today, and he was just outstanding with his responsibility to fill in for Dalton Hilliard. Great job.
How about Stan Brock? I know he's had a big year, big 12 years now for the Saints, and he passes along some wishes to his mother, Veronia, who came off a recent operation in Oregon. Dad is also going in for an operation soon. We all wish him good luck. I know they're watching today, and we wanted to pass along a hello.
And I know they're very proud of what they see here this afternoon.
Quarterback sneak by Hebert on third and less than a yard, and that will pick up the first for the Saints with 6:20 to go in the game. There's Dalton Hilliard, Hank.
I think they did a wise thing with Dalton because, you know, he hasn't been healthy. He's had a bad leg. He's had a flat tire. And as a result, he hasn't been able to express his talent and skill like he normally does. This time, this rest will be good for him. And when they bring him back, he should be at full strength to maybe help them down the stretch.
First down, New Orleans from the 16.
There's that Whopper play again.
Look at Hayward go to the 7-yard line.
Well, that's that Whopper play again. This time Kennedy was blocking along with Dombrowski. Dombrowski, as big as he is a very good puller. Pass blocker, he's probably the most underrated guy. Watch him, number 72 in the league. Watch Jordan now. Look at this. Both of them are coming through there. Look at Jordan. Well, you don't think he's a good blocker. He's a hard runner, too. Hasn't had a chance to play much this year, but he's back on his team because he's good on specialty teams and also a very good blocker.
He was re-signed last week. He's been in on 2 plays, and he's had 2 big blocks. So he stays in on this one. 2nd and a yard to go. Yeah, good play by Berry to deny Hayward of the first. The Saints doing it with backups on that line, Hank, with Cooper in for Haverdink and Port in today at that troubled right guard position where they've already lost 2 players.
I tell you something, Jim Finks has done a magnificent job of putting this team together. Bill Herrick, head of scouting, the whole organization. They got the people, and Jim said before the season, he was very brash about it. He said, we're going to have a great year. I don't know how far we're going to go, but I guarantee you this team is going to win. And he was right so far.
3rd down and 2. Not this time. Henry Thomas with a nice tackle, and he didn't let go. John Randall helped out.
And Thomas was on the bottom of the pile, but I guarantee you that's the only way you're going to tackle him. You got to gang tackle him, and you can't let him get a run to start because he's murdered.
Morton Anderson will come in. As you see, Vincent Glenn, who set up this scoring opportunity with the interception. Anderson will try to make it 4 for 4 on the day. He has, if you date it back to last year, he has made his last 9 attempts. This one a straightaway kick. Hilgenberg to snap to Barnhart. 26 yards is all. And again, just put it up on the board. Automatic for Anderson.
Well, Mr. Benson will be down here in the field pretty soon here.
Bring the umbrella out, Hank.
Doing a boogie bounce. There he is. He's happy.
He's going to start. He's not going to wait till he gets to the field, Hank. He'll start a little early up in the box. That's right. 4 for 4 for New Orleans. Hank, when you look, too, at a favorable schedule, well, at Atlanta, that's a team now warming up and leading late against the Los Angeles Raiders. And then you've got a bye week to get guys like Hilliard healthy again.
Well, that's good and it's bad. Sometimes when you're on a roll, you like to keep rolling. Sometimes the intermission in between sometimes slows down the rhythm. It's hard to know what's going to happen, but from this particular vantage point, why it looks like they're going to be happy to be able to rest Hilliard, so he'll be back after that span of time. And you have to give Jim Mora and his coaching staff a lot of credit for the preparation and the work, the game plans, and all the work they've done getting ready for this game. They all deserve an awful lot of credit.
All right, you saw the leather ready for a ride. Oh, awkward bounce. Nelson downs it again.
That's discouraging. That happens consistently throughout the game when you play against the New Orleans Saints.
Cincinnati has come back to tie the Redskins in the late going. And Philadelphia with a 9-point lead, 90 seconds left against Pittsburgh. Now, I don't understand exactly what that means. But we'll clarify the Browns and the Giants in a moment. The last we had, it was the Giants 13 and the Browns 10 in the fourth. And that Green Bay haphazard play by Mikowski turned that one around, and the Dolphins now lead. Rich Gannon is in at quarterback for Minnesota. He hands it off to Terry Allen, a first-year running back who was on injured reserve last year. Allen darts for a quick 13. He was injured all of last year with a knee problem that dated back to his last season he played at Clemson. That was his first NFL carry, and he gets 13. Novoselsky is ruled incomplete as Rich Gannon throws his first pass of the season. And there we clarify the Giants have won against Cleveland. A good fight by Bill Belichick against his old team, dropping it by a field goal at Giant Stadium.
Art Modell, the owner of the Cleveland, they're excited about having Bill Witham as their head football coach.
Second down and 10. Allen straight ahead for about 4. Robert Goff on the tackle. Gannon last year stepped in for Wade Wilson after Wade injured his right thumb and had to sit out for 6 games. Third down and 7. Allen, oh, what a hit. Gene Atkins put the stick on him to bring us to the 2-minute warning.
Brett Maxey, 39, and Gene Atkins, they've been here for several years, and they've really improved, and they make a big difference to that defense.
Saints want to preserve the shutout. We'll come back and find out if they can. 60 minutes followed by Murder, She Wrote, and then the CBS Sunday movie Runaway Father. Donna Mills and Jack Scalia star in the true story based on Pat Bennett and her struggle to support her 3 daughters when they are abandoned by their father. That's all tonight on CBS. 4th and 9, and the Vikings have the football at their own 34. Flag is down. Gene Atkins deflected it. It looks like there'll be a holding call against the Vikings, which the Saints would decline.
Jim, look at time of possession in this game. Minnesota, 1904. New Orleans, 38-56.
Number 74, offense. Penalty declined. First down. New Orleans.
The last time the Vikings were shut out was in 1986 at Chicago. And you know, the Saints would have had a shutout last week. The defense did not allow a point. The only scoring by the Rams last week was an interception return of an Hebert pass for a touchdown. So the defense in back-to-back home games has not allowed a single point, Hank.
Well, we keep talking about it, but it's hard to penetrate this defense of the New Orleans Saints. The linebackers are so active, and they pursue so well from sideline to sideline. They stuff you in the hole at the line of scrimmage. There's no place to go.
Finnerty. Oh, that's Jordan with the ball free. That was Jordan on the carry. And Pat Eilers may have landed on it. Saints football. Buford Jordan, after a couple of big blocks, gets his first carry of the season. Fumbles it after gaining some good yardage. Today's game produced by Richard Zions and directed by Craig Silver. And the NFL Today produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Eddie Gorin. And the executive producer is Ted Shaker. Saints are on their way to a perfect 4-0 start. Buford Jordan on the run. And he's about 2 yards shy of the first.
He's a guy you love to have in your team. He's an all-purpose guy that blocks well, runs adequately enough, but the big thing is he's excellent on the specialty team. Talking about Buford Jordan, number 23.
Hey, Hank, Finnerty goes over 100 yards, and he's only the fourth 100-yard rusher in the Vikings' last 74 games. He joins Neil Anderson, Gary Anderson, and oddly enough, Vinny Testaverde as 100-yard rushers in the last 74 Viking contests against that D.
Well, he was sensational here this afternoon.
Bobby Morse with a nice run. That picks up the first. Doesn't matter. The Saints will not even have to run another play.
And Bobby Morse is the son of Jimmy Morse, who was a great player for Notre Dame, along with Paul Hornung when Paul was playing.
On a day where the Saints celebrate their 25th anniversary, the present-day Saints extend the 91 celebration. So for Hank Stram, this is Jim Nantz saying so long from the Superdome, where the final score is New Orleans 26, Minnesota nothing. Next on CBS, it's Game 2 of our doubleheader as the Los Angeles Rams face the San Francisco 49ers. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.